No, we're not. No one is born a Muslim, but there's a reason why Muslims have to say this. There's this idea in Islam called fitrah that everyone is born with a disposition or a nature to believe that God is one. This is an idea from the Hadith. It says there's no child who is not born upon the fitrah, then his parents make him a Jew or a Christian or a Magian. However, there's several problems with this idea. I'll just name a few. The first and maybe the most obvious is that being a Muslim is a religious identity, not an ontological state. To be a Muslim is to submit your will to God, it's to affirm the Shahada. People aren't born submitting their wills to anything except their instinctive desires of food, maybe protection, and sleep. Which leads into the second point. I mean, obviously, empirically, psychologically, human beings are not born religious. They're not born with any beliefs. These are beliefs that develop over time in a human being's life. A human being can be born into a Muslim family, a Christian family, a Hindu family. That doesn't mean that they adhere to the religion when they're born because they simply are incapable of doing so. And like I know this is obvious, but you have to neglect this when your prophet says something that's clearly not true. Then you have to go along with what he says. And then lastly, there's just more coherent ideas about human nature. I mean, even the atheist position is a better idea about human nature, that we're just born with a blank slate and that, religion has kind of sprung up as like an evolutionary byproduct to help humanity live in community and not just survive, but hopefully flourish. And then you have the Christian view on human nature, that human beings are made in the image of God, yet we have a sinful or a corrupt nature, which would explain why, on one hand, human beings have a great capacity for good in making beautiful things and having moral intuition, but on the other hand, we see this streak of rebellion and wickedness that can play out in humanity. And so ultimately, no one is born a Muslim because no one is born anything. And that's pretty obvious. But once again, Muhammad said it, 1400 years ago. So kind of puts the Muslim in a sticky situation.